Well, welcome everyone. My name is Lynne Reeder, the National Leader of the Australian Compassion Council, and I'm very pleased to be here with Thomas Legrand, author of Politics of Being, to take part in this conversation as part of the 2022 National Day of Compassion, where our theme is deep listening, as together we deep dream Australia, a continent for compassion. Thomas is an economist who has worked in the field of sustainability for UN agencies, private companies and NGOs. He lives with his wife and two children near Plum Village, the monastery of the Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh in the southwest of France. So Thomas, thank you so much for joining us today. You have written in your book, you have written about the importance of deep listening, particularly for today's unsettled world. So just to start with, what is your definition of deep listening?
Thank you, Lynn, for inviting me, and hello, everyone. Deep listening to me is to be there fully for the person who talks, listening with all of ourselves, with our hearts, with our minds, with our bodies. So be really fully present. And when we can be so present, we can almost have a sense to be one who talks, and listening without judgment to what is said and maybe also to what is not said, really provide the space that can attract, help someone to relieve her suffering. So that is, to me, what deep listening is about.
And in what ways do you think that type of deep listening brings us closer to others?
So when we listen that way, as I said, we feel deeply connected to that person, and we can see that she suffers as we do. So this helps smooth kind of the separation between me and her. There is this sense there is this sentence from a French poet. He say, "Whoever you look at, remember that she has been through hell a couple of times." No, and when we connect, to that suffering of the person, maybe the conflicts, or eventually, some wrong she has done to us, or whatever, kind of disappear. This recognition, this compassion, really can create the space to help us understand her views. And then we can listen really more deeply to what she says. We can let go a little bit of any ideas we have on her, and we can have a fresh mind, to really have provide a new opportunity to listen to her and maybe see things in a different way.
I think that's sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think that's a really important point, because in today's world, where we tend to be so divided and in different camps and, one against the other. So seeing the opportunity for how we change our own thinking through deep listening is very important.
Indeed, if you are not ready to change our thinking, we can't say we are truly listening. And I think the person can feel that. It's because the person feels like we are really listening to her. We are without any judgment. That can help build her trust, and she feels she has the space to express herself. Sometimes it's very subtle, but people do recognize that, and that allows her to express herself in a different way. And she, maybe because she feels heard and listened to, she may then also be more willing to collaborate.
That's right. Yes, yeah. And in fact, in your book, Politics of Being, you describe domination systems as part of this problem. And part of that is that they exclude the feminine. So how can deep listening support the creation of more compassionate systems? Just unpacking that domination systems to start.
Sure. Well, in cultures of domination, people consider inequality, control, violence as a part of the system, inevitable and even moral and desirable. And they are very they praise masculine values. On the contrary, in partnership systems, they are more democratic and egalitarian, and they celebrate values such as caring and non-violence, and that translates into social and economic policies. So deep listening, if we are, as I said, if we are able to really touch, feel the suffering of others as we are listening, then automatically compassion is born and we want to alleviate that suffering. And that can be the basis of social and environmental actions. Through deep listening, we can understand the suffering caused by some economic policies or systems, from gender or racial inequities, and be prompted to act. For example, if we truly listen to an offender or a prisoner, for example, we can see that it's someone that often has faced a lot of hardships, and that these conditions have led him to commit crimes. So if we listen that way, we'll probably want to evolve our criminal justice systems, not necessarily to punish, offenders or prisoners, as with a punitive, retributive mindset. We talk about retributive justice systems, but on the contrary, we can see, they are really humans, and that have that suffering have brought them to commit certain things, and we can help them to rehabilitate through a more compassionate, restorative justice systems. So
Yes.
what's interesting is that domination systems don't support truly listening. It has been shown that in that systems, people have more mental rigidity, and they have more difficulty in letting go of preconceived assumptions and dealing with changes. So they can't, let sometimes new information in, because that would generate stress. It would contradict with the often authoritarian education they have received. So that leads them often to some denial of reality, and for example, in relation to climate change. So really, I think deep listening is really a key to build a society that works for all, because we can really let in the information, the suffering that goes with some social systems, and that we can evolve and change.
And I think the change has to happen at two levels, doesn't it? At a systems level, and then at an individual level, because we say, that individuals can change the systems. So I'm just thinking, you as a deep meditator can understand the transformative benefits that meditation and mindfulness practice brings. But in this angry and dangerous world we live in, can we really expect mindfulness and deep listening to make that difference?
Indeed, I think it is because the world is as it is that mindfulness and deep listening are so needed. Actually, they are the medicine that our world needs. Whole economy is competing for our attention all the time. So that's why mindfulness has become so precious, right? And our attention shapes the world we live in. And unfortunately, we don't pay enough attention to what is truly important. Our home, our planet is burning, and we are looking elsewhere. So, and mindfulness developed the awareness of our interconnection, and how our personal well-being is not separate from that of all living beings on this planet. So mindfulness can really help us to wake up and free ourselves from our conditioning as consumers, as workers, maybe even as citizens, and take actions. we can realize that our happiness does not depend on consumption, for example, but rather on our attitudes towards life. And mindfulness is really important to, and you talk about angry behaviors, I think, and mindfulness can help us respond instead of react to whatever comes to us, right? And bring peace to our relationships. It has been shown indeed that mindfulness practices can decrease anger, impulsivity, aggression, and rather increase empathy and compassion. So deep listening is very important. It's really what is lacking in our political systems at the moment. That's why we have so much polarization. Through deep listening, we can build more collaborative political cultures. And you may know that mindfulness has been used for that with some success in different parliaments. As I mentioned maybe a little bit already, you know, we need, because of that polarization, and sometimes it comes from what has happened in history and has never been able to be listened to and discussed and integrated. We need reconciliation, and deep listening can help us to bring healing to societies. So many historical wounds, traumas keep us fragmented, divided, and often paralyzed as societies. So if we can really direct our collective attention, this is what has been done sometimes through reconciliation process, you know, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, for example, in some country. We can really deeply listen to some hurt that has been caused, and that can bring a lot of relief and freedom to our communities, so that we may be able to, you know, start from a different point and invent a new way forward for new societies, rather than carry on, you know, all these traumas and wounds.
Exactly. Yes, yes, nice little connections there between you know, mindfulness, deep listening, trauma, interdependence. Like, we really need to be stitching all these things together, you know, to change the world. So that's why we're very pleased that deep listening is our theme for this year, and we're finishing these wonderful discussions with the question of what is one practice that we could be doing on the National Day of Compassion to improve our connections to others through the gift of our deep listening.
So it would be nice if people, you know, spend their day with that attention and question, you know, am I truly listening enough? Am I truly there for the ones who are around me, and really provide the space so that, you know, what sometimes having the space to be listened to can find that space in that spatial day. And maybe in the evening we can recap and remember the different interactions we have had in the day, and just check, you know, were we really present, were we really listening, did we offer the space that can help the people around us.
Yes, yes, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Thomas. It's just been wonderful to have you as part of the National Day. And I would, you know, sort of encourage people to have a look for Politics of Being by Thomas Legrand. It's a wonderful read. So thank you so much, Thomas.
Thank you, Lynne. My pleasure, and a great National Day to everyone.
Thank you.